Good morning guys, welcome back to Triple L Rustic Designs. Today we're going to be cutting some pecan logs on the sawmill, and we're cutting them into 2.5 inch thick slabs. Before we get started, we're going to scan the logs with our Lumber Wizard metal detector. A lot of times when these logs come out of people's yards, they put nails and all kinds of metal in the trees in their yards. So we're going to use that metal detector to scan the logs for any metal. That way we don't hit anything with our new blade on the wood miser. The blades that we're using up there are like $25 to $35. So every time we strike a nail or hit some metal in a log, we're wasting that blade and just throwing that money down the drain. So as you guys have seen in our other videos, this is the Lumber Wizard 5 metal detector. It works very well for finding metal inside of logs. It's designed to read down into the log about 3-4 inches, and it can detect metal in the log. Now it does have its limitations. So if there just happens to be a nail 17 inches inside this log, it's probably not going to find it. But majority of the time, the nails that are on the outside of the log, it does a great job. So we're going to scan this pecan log and see if we have any metal. When scanning the logs with the metal detector, you just want to go back and forth, kind of slow, just making sure you're covering all the area. When it does find metal, it has a laser that shows you where the metal would be. So the last time we got a pecan log from this customer, it did have a big nail inside the pecan log. So that's why we're checking these ones, just because they're coming out of the yard and we don't want to break another blade. Oh, right there, look at that. I can see it. This one is right here on top. Looks like a small little nail, but as I pass over it, the metal detector shows me with a laser right where I'm going to be looking, and it beeps, so it tells me that there's a nail there. So luckily this one's right here on top. I can see it, so we'll get that pulled out of there and we'll continue scanning the log. So this one, I think I'll be able to pull out with the hammer. Look at that. Perfect little like roofing nail right in the top of this log. So we'll check again, see if there's, yep, seems like we got it. That's it. So a little nail. We'll keep scanning. Well, maybe that's the only one in there. Now there could be one in the bottom of this log. When we get to moving it, I may scan it again. This piece here looks like it was higher up in the tree, so hopefully there's no nails in it, but you never know. So far, so good. Just one. All right. Well, looks like we just had the one nail. And if you're wondering why would there be a nail in the log, a lot of times people will hang like bird feeders or signs or just all kinds of stuff on the trees in their yard. So that's how these nails get in there. Public service announcement: don't put metal in your trees. Please do not put any kind of metal in the trees. It's not good for the trees, and it's not good for the sawmills that try to save the trees and use them for something else other than send them to the landfill. So by using this Lumber Wizard 5 metal detector, we just saved a blade, a $35 blade, from striking that nail. If you guys are interested in checking out one of these Lumber Wizard metal detectors, I have a link in the description below. They are awesome and they are well worth the money if you're doing anything in woodworking. So now that we've checked the logs for any nails or metal, we're gonna get this one loaded up on the sawmill. This is an incredibly heavy log, so hopefully between the tractor and the hydraulic lift on the sawmill, we'll be able to get it loaded up there and we'll start cutting. So as you can see, the tractor could barely lift that log up. It was just enough to be able to scoot it across the ground. We were able to get it over here, roll it onto the log lifts, and surprisingly enough, these log lifts on this LT40 are really, really awesome. They push from the ground, so it gives even stronger lifting capacity. So it was able to lift that pecan log up. Dad helped a little bit with the tractor. We got it up here, got it locked down, and now it's time to make our 2.5-inch thick slabs. The last time we cut one of these pecan logs, it was like cutting concrete. It was so hard inside that we dulled 2 different blades just trying to make slabs out of it. Today, we're gonna try and prevent that issue because we're gonna put on a Winter Steiger 4-degree double hard blade from LA Cutting Products. LA Cutting Products makes amazing blades for all of your blade type tools, whether it's your little DeWalt jigsaws or any kind of bandsaws or big sawmills. They make blades for everything. We get all of our sawmill blades from LA Cutting Products. There's a link in the description below if you guys want to check them out. They're great people and they have great products. So we're gonna get that Winter Steiger blade put on the sawmill. Hopefully, since it's a badass blade, it'll cut through this log like butter and we'll be able to make slabs with no issues at all. So the blade that's on the sawmill right now is a 10-degree blade. We were using the sawmill to cut some pine, and the 10-degree blades work pretty well for cutting pine. But for cutting hard stuff like oak or this pecan, we need a stronger blade with a sharper angle. So this 4-degree Winter Steiger double hard blade should be strong enough to cut through this pecan log. Hopefully we don't have any waviness like we did last time, but we'll see. We also have to hope that there's no hidden nails inside this log deeper than what the metal detector was able to find. So this 10-degree blade is still good. I'm gonna fold it up and we'll be able to use it when we cut some pine later. So this is the Winter Steiger 4-degree double hard blade. It has like a blue effect to the blade. I think it's something that they do during the manufacturing or the making process. Really, really nice blade. Now I'm gonna see if I can do this unwrapping. Justin Coleman from Wood Miser said you gotta find the 8 behind the cue ball. I think he was just making up a bunch of stuff because, yeah, this is, all right, so there's an 8 behind the cue ball. So now we do something like this. Folding them up is much easier than unwrapping them. All right, so, woo! There we go. It's all about confidence. Now, when these blades come from LA Cutting Products, they come turned inside out just because that's the way they come off the machine. And some sawmills need them one way, other sawmills need them the other way. So as you saw, I just flipped it inside out, that easy. So now it's facing the right direction. All right, so this blade tensioning gauge on this LT40 is super cool. Much better design than the LT15. But this is a little trick that Justin Coleman at Wood Miser taught me. Be able to check and make sure your blade is tracking properly. You turn on the blade engagement and then you just barely turn on the key and turn it back off. That engages it a little bit, and now I'm able to come in here and spin the blade and make sure that it's tracking properly. And it looks like it is. So we're gonna go ahead and close it all up and get ready to get cutting. All right, so we've got that Winter Steiger 4-degree double hard blade from LA Cutting Products installed on the sawmill. Once again, if you guys have any kind of tools that use a blade, I highly encourage you, head over to the link in the description below. Check out LA Cutting Products, all the blades they have to offer. They're great people and they make great products. If you guys are out there running a sawmill, I'd be interested to know what kind of blades are you running for cutting species like pecan or oak. Are you using a 4-degree double hard blade or something else? Drop it in the comment section down below because it could help us out and it can help others who are watching this video. So before I turn on the sawmill and things get loud and it's kind of hard for you to hear me, the customer wants this pecan log cut into 2.5-inch thick slabs. So on the LT40, we're gonna set pattern mode and we're gonna set it for 2.5 inches. and we're gonna let the sawmill do its thing. It's gonna go down 2.5 inches every time, creating perfect slabs. One thing I wanna show you guys before we get started, if you have a sawmill, especially a Wood-Mizer sawmill, you've got to get one of these lasers. This laser attachment is so helpful when cutting logs. It sits here, it shows you exactly where the blade's gonna strike, and it makes it much faster for figuring out where you wanna put your cut. So I'm gonna run the camera and I'm gonna let Dad do the sawing. Hopefully he does everything correctly and this video goes smoothly. All right, so just like the last time that we cut a pecan log, a fresh pecan log, it's like cutting concrete. I don't know why it's so dense or why it's cutting so hard. I think that time we actually got a straight cut, But as you can see, it took us 15 minutes just to get the sawmill through that one cut. So I don't know what's going on. We're gonna get this slab off of here. We're gonna examine the underside. We didn't hit metal. I think it's just such a hard material that the sawmill's struggling to get through it, even with the 4-degree double hard blade. It's definitely not the blade's fault. Something with this wood is just crazy hard. So we'll get the slab off, we'll clean everything off, and hopefully we can figure out why it's struggling to get through the log. This is where the blade was stopping, and it definitely didn't hit anything. So it makes me think that our track is getting jammed up, which would make sense because the bark on this is so hard. It's like chunks of concrete as well. And I'm wondering if some of the bark is getting stuck on the track, which is causing it not to move forward. So I'm gonna clean this off really well, and hopefully this next cut goes better. We got the sawmill track all cleaned off, all the sawdust, all the pieces of bark. So we're gonna make our next cut and hopefully it goes through this log smoother. Well, as you just saw, the sawmill struggled to get through the log again. I don't think it's a blade in the sawmill issue. I think it's something to do with the drive track. It's like it's facing so much resistance that it's halting the sawmill. So there's either a belt in here slipping or something's jammed on the chain. I don't know, but something's causing the sawmill not to want to move forward. So we're gonna start taking some things apart, see if we can diagnose the issue, and we'll show you what we figure out when we're done. If you come around here, here's what we figured out. So the sawmill, when it gets moved forward and backwards, is running off of this motor here that's belt driven. What we're thinking is the pecan or pecan, whatever you want to call it, is so dense and hard that it's causing this belt to face so much resistance that it's slipping on here. And I think it's slipping on here, causing it not to turn the chain and causing it not to move forward. So we're gonna leave this off on this cut, and we're gonna see if we can diagnose if that's really what's happening. So as you can see, that last cut went through there much smoother. We did see that what was happening was the sawmill was facing so much resistance in this hard pecan that the belt was slipping just a little bit, or it was just like causing it not to move forward. So all I had to do was push it a little bit, and that helped give it that much more momentum to make it through the log. So I think this may be the hardest log we've ever cut. It's definitely overpowering the drive motor on the sawmill going forward. I'm sure some of you out there watching are gonna be able to tell us what we're doing wrong. So we're gonna get this slab off of here, and we'll drop down and try to keep making our next cuts. I think if I keep helping the sawmill push through the log, I think it'll keep working. All right, so we've made 3 more cuts after diagnosing what was happening, and we've definitely figured out how to fix it. It's definitely not the blade. The blade is doing awesome. It's creating awesome cuts. It's just that the pecan is so dense, the sawmill is actually struggling to keep driving through it. So all we're having to do is push it along a little bit, and it's making beautiful cuts. Once again, we got another beautiful 2.5-inch slab. We're gonna get it off and finish this log. All right, guys, so as you saw, that was probably the toughest log we've ever cut on the sawmill. That was quite difficult getting that sawmill to go through this pecan log, but we did get some really nice slabs. They're 2.5 inches thick. They have a little bit of waviness in some of the cuts, but that's gonna be all right because once they're dry, we'll be able to flatten them down to about 2 inches. and they'll be beautiful. That's gonna do it for today's video. Once again, if you have a tool that needs a blade, check out LA Cutting Products. There's a link in the description below. And also, thank you Lumber Wizard for supplying us with that Lumber Wizard 5 metal detector. Guys, if you do anything in the woodworking, you need a metal detector to check your wood for metal. If you like this video, smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for all of our future videos, and we'll see you on the next one.